Okay, I have to find the next quiz, so hold on just a moment. There it is. Okay. My mouse isn't working right. Of course, something always has to go wrong somehow. Yeah, don't. Come on. My mouse is doing something funky, and I'm here in my office. I'm not at home. Let me close this out for a second and see if I can get this to. See, and as soon as I hit that, yeah, there we go. That's better. As soon as I hit that record button, it starts doing some funky things. Okay, hold on. Let me go back in. There we go.
Hey, Professor, is there a
Yeah.
way we would be able to use the Kahoots on our own, like as a study tool?
I don't know. You can try downloading it, and like I do. Hold on, let me just get into the next one. Let everybody start registering. Perhaps you can download it. When you download the PowerPoint and you put it in PowerPoint presentation mode. See, this one is not reading it right. So hold on. If you put it in presentation mode like this, slideshow mode, you might be able to do it. I don't know because I'm not sure what it does at your end. And let me, however, the classes are generally recorded and uploaded per chapter. So worst case scenario is you just go to the Zoom and you fast forward till you get to the quizzes. There we go. I would say that if something was really going to be helpful, it would probably be your online quizzes.
Hey, Professor.
Yeah.
Someone said they're having trouble accessing the slides, and if they can't access the slides, they're definitely going to fail the test.
What do
Is
you mean
there
accessing what slides?
the slides for the class, the PowerPoints?
Oh, they're all up there.
I understand, but one of the
Okay.
students
Well,
is
they'll
saying
have
they
to
can't
reach
pull
out
them.
and email me because you guys find the notes, right? It's all for anybody that's, I mean, did they just text in there or something or post something?
Yeah, they just typed it in the chat.
Oh, okay. Just tell them that you need to go under everything's on there. You know, if they need to, they can email me. I've not received an email. But they're all under exam 1 material, exam 2 material, exam 3 material. I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's me, Christine. I emailed you about it. It's not the slides, it's the links for like the bones and stuff like that.
Yeah, they
It's that, and
periodically work or don't work. Those aren't required for the course though.
oh yeah, you did email support, and I actually
Yeah.
called somebody too.
Oh,
And
good.
he was like, oh, the teacher has to fix them because it's still has me like registered under a previous class or something.
You know,
So,
they
but I mean,
worked
as far as
fine
the
last
slides go,
semester and stuff. So I think they've
yeah.
already been altered, but they're not part of passing the course. That's
Okay.
there's just stuff to play with.
Okay, cool. I mean, the slides and all that are good. Everything else I'm good on. It was just those
Okay, you
things that
did
it,
find the PowerPoints because I was going to say by
oh yeah,
now
yeah.
it's like, oh my God, you mean you didn't find the PowerPoints and how'd you even pass exam 1? Or, you know, we won't ask, but, you know. But yeah, I think they've already been upgraded. No, they actually, those links were from my own course from last semester. So I don't know what they were talking, but when I go in them, they run, you know, and
the
this
only
guy
one
was
that I
well
can
from the
see.
other students. And I was like, all right, well, you know,
Yeah.
it's hard for me to know what they see. So if you're telling me that that's what they see, then I'll go in and try to refresh them. But I think they're already done. Have you tried them recently?
I did. I tried them this morning and they still weren't working.
Yeah,
The only thing
then
that's
I'm just
working,
going to
there's a
take them
muscle.
down because they were all replaced.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, with fresh links, I think it was done over the weekend. So I'll just take them down then, I think, because all you have to do is go to this edit function, which I do for even these
Sit.
the Zooms, these recorded Zooms,
Mhm.
and you create a link, and you just replace the address, the HTTPS address from an old one to a new one. And so, that's what I did, for each one of those. And so if they still don't work, then there's something else going on. Maybe it's something with that particular website, and now I don't know, maybe they're trying to charge to have people access, those
Oh.
games and pages. It was
Okay.
called purposegames.com, something like that. But yeah, I guess then, yeah, there's nothing I can really do about it,
Okay.
because I did what they told me to do. And I was like, okay, I get why I see it and you guys don't. But I replaced them all. I think there were about 15 of them.
Yeah, there was a bunch. I've been using the other stuff from the stop it, from the lab class.
Are you playing with a squeaky?
I am.
Okay. Because I've
That's
got
why
my
I'm
dog here
muted
in my
half the
office
time.
too,
I'm
but
the
he
one with the
doesn't play
dog.
with
Like a
squeaky.
stress ball, I promise.
I thought it was for the dog. But in any event, no, those things were helpful. But I will tell you, if you go, I think it's called, maybe what I'll do is I'll send out an email to you guys, and I'll just say, look, if these links aren't working, and if you're interested, because I'll just tell you, you're the only one that emailed me about any issue with it. So either other people aren't using them, which they don't need to, or they were using them and it was working for them. Is that I'll send out what it's called. It's like purposegames.com or something like that. And you can go in and you can navigate to all kinds of, now, so you just turned off your camera. Oh, yeah, you do have a dog with a squeaky. Right here.
Yeah, that's Louis.
Okay, hold on. We have dog envy. Here, where's Lyle? Where are you? Oh, no, he's sleeping. Never mind. He finally went to sleep. He's on my office floor. My dog's here with me too, because I was afraid it was going to start raining. But do what you can with that. And then I'll send this out, because I think if you just go to that one website, I don't think you have to have any credentials to go in and use any of it. All what was done was just grab some that were kind of relevant to some of the topics you were doing. But otherwise, I think you could go to their website, like a Kahoot or something, and access whatever you want. So,
All right,
okay,
sounds
all
good.
right.
Thank
So
you.
I'll send that out after class. All right, is everybody ready to get crack-a-lack in here? I think people have fallen to the wayside. So, okay. All right. Nice. Okay, very good. Let me close that out and get another one going here. Close that page. Bum, bum, bum. All right, let's see. Okay, so I need to shrink that. We are in skeletal system. Okay, so let's see. Let me see. I don't think we had any for axial and appendicular skeletons. I think we just kind of covered the notes. Maybe, maybe not. Oh, there is one there. Okay. Burned brain, huh? You ain't seen nothing yet. Wait till you get to micro. Boy.
I found micro to be pretty easy.
Oh, you took micro already?
I thought A and P was way harder.
Really? Oh, I thought, I don't know. Well, I mean, the nice thing about micro is you stay in the same train of thought, and it kind of depends on, I think it depends on who you have too, you know, because I think some people can communicate the thought process, I think, better. You know how the whole flow chart for identifying your unknowns, you know, and how you approach that, I think is, you know, and I always found all my different growth plates, you know, and the different types and the colors when you have gram, you know, hemolytics versus gram positive and negatives, you know, like, oh, you know, but I did it in more detail. I remember when I did my clinical rotation for that, my first practical had about 3 unknowns, and then the final exam was about 10 unknowns. And you had 3 days to complete. That was a lot of fun. Was that George? Was that you that said that? Did you? Who did you have for micro?
I took it 10 years ago at Michigan State.
Oh, okay. Well then, okay, never mind.
I thought it was, I don't know, I had a good teacher. I thought it was pretty, you know, all in, like you said, all in one area. Whereas
Yeah,
A&P is more like, here's 9,000 terms, memorize this by the end of the week.
yeah, yeah. I think you know, when you start at the beginning and instead of having a different system that you're doing like every week, and in this case it's 2 different systems, you know, every week, it's a lot. You know, but when you're, I will say that it does, you can follow the train of thought better. And yeah, absolutely. You know, I had some really cool teachers. Like I had a really good physics and chemistry teachers that, you know, just made like a world of difference. You could have, but except for organic chemistry, I had this guy, he was older than dirt. And it was
Yeah,
way
that's what
upstate
I
New
had.
York.
That'll
Oh,
ruin you.
huh, yeah, it was, and it was accelerated. So it was,
Um,
you know, organic 1 in 8 weeks and organic 2 in 8 weeks.
I took a
And
guy with A&P who wrote textbooks for like the school, and he was like, I don't know, maybe 300 years old,
yeah,
give or
yeah,
take. It
yeah,
was terrible. Then I had
I
my
know
micro
it can
teacher was
be
like,
because
she was 29, right out of college, like smart as a whip and just related well.
yeah, and you know, they're a little more motivated to, you know, and they still really like it. Whereas, you know, I mean, when people get older and they're toward the end of their tenure, you know, and things, is that they're just there stamping stuff and talking about things, and it's like they just want to go home, you know. But you know, for the rest of us, like we really kind of dig this stuff, you know, and you know, and get really kind of excited about it still, and and the different ways you can use it and things. So, you know, yeah, definitely. Oh, well, let me get this quiz going because everybody's like, stop talking, Dr. Janae. All right.
No, I got kicked, so I'm gonna be a question behind now.
Just hang in there. I think they're about, oh no, I didn't actually see how many questions there were, but don't worry about it. There's more coming. Okay, very good. All right, let me close that one out. Let me get into the next one. Let's see. That would be appendicular. I think I have one in there. Yep. There it goes. Nope, you're okay. I'm right here. Come on, buddy. Fine. Oh my goodness, you got a nap and you're snoring. You're snoring. Okay, is everybody in that wants to get in? Okay. Let me get out of that. Find another one. Articulations. Let me see if we have one for articulations. Okay. Nicely done. All right, let me get the next one. All right, let's see. muscle tissue is next. Let's see. Okay, is everybody in that wants to get in? Let's see a few people. Right? Okay, good. Let me close those out. Okay, so that's the end. Let me just close it of the Kahoots that were within the lecture material. And let me just correct myself. That was George or Levi had a question about can you go back through the access to Kahoot quizzes. Actually, that's right. Your notes don't have the Kahoot quizzes embedded in them. Mine do. But you can go back through the Zooms. I think I mentioned this previously, is that you could always go through those and just, fast forward till we get to the quizzes. But those are only in the instructor's notes. Okay, so there are still a bunch of people, logged in here. Do you want to do you want me to go into the Kahoot website and find some quizzes that you might not have seen before? And do you want to try doing those? It's only 6:37. I mean, we're technically we have class for like a little over about 2.5 hours, but it does get a little tedious sometimes. So is anybody interested in me going into that page and opening up a few?
Yeah, I
Okay,
think I
now-
might leave if that's okay.
You could do whatever you want. Yep.
All right. Thanks, Professor. See you
Yep,
next time.
You're welcome. Let me see if I can find one. You guys just hang there. Let me shrink you guys down. Let me see. It takes a little bit just to get into that website. So let me close this out. I'm gonna open up. Let me get to Kahoot and then let's see. Okay, I'm in there now. So let me see. A lot of this is the nervous system. So let me advance through here and see if I can find. We can use duplicate articulations. Maybe this one. We could try this one. There's usually a reason why I didn't use them. Sometimes I didn't care for the questions or I never corrected the grammar. Actually, a couple of those other ones I didn't correct either, but okay, let me try this one and then let me share with you. This is a joints question, quiz, articulations. Okay, let's give it a try. Okay, good. All right, let me close that one out. And let's see if I can find another one. I know there are a few. I just don't want to waste your time with ones that are.
I have a question for the exam. It's multiple choice and like true and false and short answer. like la-
I don't think it has any short answer in them.
Oh, okay.
Here's another articulation.
I also have a question. Is the exam cumulative?
No, if you, the syllabus, no, the syllabus indicates that the only thing you have cumulative is the cumulative final at the end of the course.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, yep. No, we used that one. Hold on. Let's see, we used that. Let's see. Perpendicular. We need to find some muscle, I think, here. Hold on. Nervous system, a lot on the nervous system. Okay, I'm gonna start here and try a couple of these. This is part B, so I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't think you saw this one. Okay. Stop. There we go. You often forget like which ones are part of the notes, and I don't think you saw this one, so there actually are a few that we can use as review. There we go. Good. Good. Yeah, when it comes to the muscular system, because, we don't generally in lecture, I don't in lecture go over all the muscles. I mean, everything that you do in lab, because the origins and insertions and actions, those are things that it's kind of subjective as to how many muscles and origins, insertions and actions an instructor, requires you to know, especially during the summer. But the physiology is really important. So I would know some of these were good questions. That first question, you might have covered that in lab. especially if you took lab on one of the other campuses. We used to include it, then, one instructor said, no, we should include it. They took it out, and I don't know if it's back in again. So if it wasn't covered in lab, I didn't necessarily cover it in lecture, and that's the myograms and looking at the latent period, the contraction period, and so forth. If I didn't cover it in the lecture notes, I generally don't ask a question. So, but I would know the sequence of events of impulses traveling down the motor neuron, calcium entering the axon terminals, so forth and so on, the basics of all that. Okay,
I have a question.
sure, go ahead.
What causes like soreness in your muscles after you work out?
Lactic acid, a little bit of residual lactic acid, but there's actually damage to tissue that occurs. So usually once the tissue has time to repair, and it just knocked me out of it. So hold on, I have to open it. And so that's usually what it is. It's a little bit of tissue injury with inflammation that accompanies it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Oops, and that didn't work. Okay, let me try again. There we go. Let's get quick logged in again. I know there were a few more, or at least one more muscle quiz. This one was. Nope, we just did that one. Okay, let me go back. This one is a pretty good one. Okay. Okay. Yeah, technically cardiac muscle can have 1 to 2, but I would go with smooth if I had to ask you about one. And and that reminds me, the chart that I have up there, I would use that whenever I create charts for you. Generally, you get a couple questions from it, so especially when it comes to comparing and contrasting skeletal, cardiac muscle, and smooth muscles. Maybe the appearance, the nerve supply, is it voluntary, involuntary, speed of contraction. Yeah. And which one demonstrated some unique features like autorhythmicity, and intercalated discs? I would know all these structure function of all those parts of muscle. Do the same thing for, compact bone and spongy bone. So that one was kind of helpful too. Let me see if I can find another one. That might be about it. I thought I had, we already used a few of them in the notes, but okay, let me stop that share. Let me close that. Let me see if there's another one. We can try this skeletal system when I'm not. Nope, we already used that one. Some of them end up being like duplicates, so well, whatever. I think that's pretty much it for those. There have a lot of them have similar names, and so I think we looked at about whatever we could because we only did 2 chapters. So even though they're 2 big chapters, they're just still 2 chapters. So okay, so I think that serves as a pretty good review. Again, prepare for lab. A lot of that overlaps, so at least you're kind of covering 2 areas at once, and you doubly benefit. Any other questions? Okay, well then I'm going to end this the Zoom. I'll log on again Monday at 5:30, 5:20 or something. If you have any questions or if there's something else you would like to do, perhaps what I'll try to do this weekend is go through all those Kahoot quizzes I have and maybe try to create one PowerPoint that captures some of those, even if they're not the best quizzes and representatives of the material, is maybe create a PowerPoint that has like, at least for those 2 chapters, here are a couple extra ones, and we can maybe be able to click that on as like an extra review. So if I have some time this weekend, as long as nothing demonstrative happens, I'll try to do that. And I'll try to do the same maybe for exam 3 material, and then I'll have that already prepared. That might work out well for all the different colleges and stuff. So, okay, anything else? I didn't really get a chance to look in on the chat, but if anybody's reading through that chat, is there anything I really need to know? All right, Christine, I'm going to try to, I'm going to go back in there in just a minute after I close this up, and I'm going to see if those work. If they don't work, there's something with that, I don't know, with that course, their page that they maintain or something, because I just laboriously went through all that. And I did it last semester too, so I don't know why it would have changed unless that particular company changed their links or updated their quizzes or something, or those activities. So I'll take a look at it. If it doesn't work, it's just not going to work. I'll just delete them. I think I had to do that in AMP2 once, and then I waited for a while and then went back and found another website that worked even better. So.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. I just saw something about the Kahoot quiz. I didn't see what was put up there. Let me see. Who said anyone want this bag dog? Total distraction. I'll take it. Yeah.
That was
Is
me.
that you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know all
He's-
dogs are like that. I'm fostering this pit bull mix, and I can't even Zoom from home anymore. I have to come to work. But if I bring the older one, he's the one that had nasal cancer. He was snoring before. He's out, so he's great to take someplace. Let me just say, if you're able to do that Kahoot PowerPoint, it'd be most grateful. Yeah, let me try to put something together. you know, but they're, yeah, I haven't quite, the reason why I didn't use some of those is that they all end up being kind of named similarly, because I had like 2 or 3 different class sections, and then you had like 3 in, you know, that were created in each class, and they all kind of use the same names. So I would, you know, get them all confused. And when you, anyways, it's hard to explain how Kahoot puts them in your library there. But in any event, they might not be the best representations, but hey, you know, and you know, remember, you can create your own quizzes. I mean, something that is good to think of, you know, like going forward is maybe not necessarily during the summer session because it's pretty accelerated, but you know, during AMP2, when you get into your class there, be it, you know, face to face, totally online, or like this kind of a live online, is that or I actually, my AMP2 is online. I don't use the standard eCampus course because it's a course actually registered to this campus, but I pre-recorded the Zoom lectures and I load them up there, and then you just kind of pass through the, you know, the material kind of at your own pace. The exams open and close similar, like for one whole week. You know, you can work ahead on all the quizzes and stuff, but the exams have to be taken at certain intervals. And you know, but whichever way you do it, whichever medium you use, is create study groups. And you know, you can create your own quizzes and things, and you know, that became, you know, is a really good tool, because once you start thinking like an instructor and how you might create questions, the better prepared you are probably for the questions you're going to see, because lo and behold, you'll probably end up writing some that you end up seeing on an exam or on a quiz. So all right, then I'm going to break here. And if anybody has any questions, you can email me. You know,
Oh, one
otherwise
more
we'll plan.
question.
Sure, go ahead.
Do you teach lab too? Not related to this class, but do you teach AMP lab as well?
Yeah, it just kind of depends. Like right this summer, I usually get kind of some extra classes to teach. This summer, I only have one real extra one. But right now I'm doing AMP2 lab and lecture. And so I sometimes do. It depends on what's offered to me and the time frame. You know, I'm not a big fan. I hope you guys are, of 8 a.m. You know, ugh, that's horrible, because everybody comes in cranky and they're late, and it's just, you know, so I don't like to teach first in the morning, and I don't like to teach it like at 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. So
Uh, That's what
I'm
I
getting
get off
older.
work at.
Huh?
I get off work at 8 a.m.
Yeah, so I mean, you wouldn't be able to be there anyway, you know. So what we're finding is that this is what I found, and then I'll let you guys go. Is, you know, we just had some statistics come out about success rates. You know, you know, how many students in, you know, all these different classes had passed with at least a C or higher. And you know, I don't know if I mentioned this in your class. I might have mentioned it, but you know, I said that I think that's because of having these mediums to use now that we were forced into with the pandemic, is to maybe live Zoom or Zoom and load, you know, be able to live Zoom, and then either face to face in a classroom, which I did in the spring and in the fall. But in the spring, I had 2 sections of, oh, was it AMP1 or AMP2? And I think it was AMP1. And you could come to the class and sit in the classroom as long as we were 6 feet apart, or you could participate like this from home. And then even, you know, so that's really how they wanted you to be attending. I would still record it and upload it for people who could not particularly attend that day. And I think something along those lines that are a little flexible as far as the attendance, but you still have to be attending on a fairly regular basis. You know, you need to be getting your quizzes done in a timely manner, your exams done in a timely manner, you know, in the time allotted. And I think that really helped a lot of people who had kind of wacky schedules, or maybe, you know, your work schedule, like maybe you weren't working and now you finally got an opportunity to get back to work. Well, you don't want to drop out of your class, you know. So I think it really appeals to whatever method you really like most. If you want to come face to face, then we'll meet in the classroom. You know, for people who want to just attend like this from home because, you know, they've maybe just gotten home and they can, you know, sometimes get out a little bit early and get registered into the class at 8 a.m. And you can just say, hey, I'm always going to be 15 minutes late because I'm just getting home from work or something, or that we have the classes, if it is going to be required, either face-to-face or virtual, like this, what do they call, like what do they call it, simultaneous or whatever, attendance, is that you have them offered at a time that people can actually attend, So, I think that hopefully going forward, we'll have more of these options that have flexibility in any one particular class section. It's not just face-to-face or just, I'm hoping that those days are over, because I like doing it like this. I don't mind coming to school. I don't live that far away from this campus. Do I want to come in for every single one when, other people can stay home and teach from there? Well, I think fair is only fair, but I don't mind, I mean, you have to go through the material anyway. And that, if students are happier with being able to have it kind of in a blended form, kind of like this, then, so be it, but, so as far as like teaching a lab class, in the fall, I'm pretty certain I have one. I think I have an AMP1. I don't know if I have an AMP2. I don't even remember anymore. I know I signed up for some classes. I just don't
I think
remember
you
what they-
do because I'm already signed up for, I think
Oh,
your
okay.
lecture
You-
and your lab.
Yeah, did it say, so the lecture, I'm just gonna say, is probably gonna be similar to this. I can almost tell you that, I mean, we can't just do whatever we want to do, but I will say that even if it's supposed to be a face-to-face class, and I doubt everything is, because they were still very cautious about what the conditions might be and state requirements and so forth for people to be returning to school, what the vaccination rates were going to be like. I personally think that keeping it like this and fewer people on the campus, at least till we get to the spring semester, is probably the most cost-effective way to do this and safest for everybody, involved. I mean, I've been vaccinated, so I'm not that concerned, but not everybody else has, so, even if it's supposed to be an in-person class, I'll probably try to do something that Zooms the lab and have like a library of them, that if you can't come to the class, you can just attend it that way. Hopefully, the lab rooms, I can't exactly do that. I can do it in a lecture room, easy, to do a face-to-face lecture there and Zoom it at the same time. But the labs don't have the right cameras in there. So what I had to do with AMP2, which is what you'd be referring to then, is that I have been doing them from home, again, pre-recording them like I do with Zoom, but I don't invite anybody into it. And I go through the lab exercises, the handouts kind of that we use. And then we look at the images that are up there, and I kind of do a review that way. In the AMP2, I use more of my, I modify the content a little bit, are my AMP2 lecture notes within it, because there's a lot more physiology. And also in the PowerPoints that I put up for the notes for each, the blood lab and the cardiac lab, it has additional images that are all labeled up from a previous image database that we had. So that helps you see more pictures, and, especially because I frequently use those because they're actually very good pictures. And that particular faculty person retired and they broke down the website. So that's why we don't have those, but I can still use copies of them. So in any event, I can't even remember what I signed up to teach for the fall, but if flexibility is required, that, if it says in a face-to-face or something like, hey, my work schedule now is changing, or I just got a job, or I even knew I have the same job, but I just can't be there, is talk to me or your instructor about that, because if you want to be in there, because you're used to their teaching style and stuff, I think that's the easiest path, to getting the highest grades possible, is not, unless you absolutely abhorred your previous teacher, is just to stay with the same ones, because once you're in that groove, it's just easier. And then just, communicate that. And there might be, again, things that we're allowed to do to modify upload Zooms and things like this. So the same way, the quizzes will be open, the entire semester. Exams will be at one particular week, at certain intervals. I still do a cumulative final even for AMP2, but when you get to this cumulative, I think you'll see that they're, generally the easier questions out of all the ones that you got. And so it will hopefully be similar. Anybody else? All right, Christine, I'm gonna get into that page right now and see if they run on my end again, and
Okay.
then I don't know how to really fix it because I just did. So,
Yeah.
but whatever.
As long as it's not like required, I'm okay.
Oh,
I've been
no.
studying other ways, so.
It was just to play with, and often those, every time, everybody kind of tailors the content that you need to know, especially because most of those were more lab things really than lecture. If you've noticed, it would be labeling bones. Well, you're not going to do that in an exam, in the face-to-face class, at least not for one of mine. I mean, it helps you because you can play around with it for lab, but there's often, points of anatomy or things that you don't have to know, that they created in this, and then you're like, oh, I thought I had to. No, our lab doesn't make you know that or something, So I think they're good to kind of play around with, but no, it's not. No, not at all required. And that's what I was trying to tell that tech person. I said, this is just, additional study tool play things, that you can use, and or if you did purchase the textbook with the access code to the Pearson website, even though I don't use their assignments and things, and use a lot of their content that they have there, that the standardized eCampus classes generally do here, is that they do have a little study area there. And, that's accessible to anybody that's purchased the book, and has proof of purchase of the book. There are going to be assignments that you have to know, or be able to access, but you can access some of those tools. And some of those are kind of handy, the blood pressure things for AMP2. But if you haven't purchased the book and you don't have that access, I wouldn't go crazy for that, especially for AMP1, maybe in AMP2. I think, you could buy access for the semester or 2 semesters, for like, I don't know, $75 or something. I mean, it's not super cheap. And it can be helpful. I thought especially their cardiac and blood areas were good. But, for the things that are the most complicated and could really use some tutorial things like that, they don't have them on those particular subjects. So I think just, it may or may not be cost effective. All righty then I will let you guys go, and I will